Okay, so we're almost all the way there for the CRUD part of our application. We've got create, read, and update in place. Now we just have to do delete. So once again, we delete classifieds by going into the admin area here and just selecting delete, which right now doesn't have any kind of click handler attached to it. So let's put a new method on the delete button. Let's go back over here to Sublime into our template, and right here, let's add an ng-click. And this is going to point to a method that we'll create in a second called delete classified. And as you can probably guess, we have to tell this method which classified in particular we want to delete, and it's going to be the classified that we are currently iterating over, just like we did up here in the edit classified method. Okay, so let's save this and let's go over to the controller to put that method in. So just beneath the save edit method, let's put in scope.deleteClassified. And so that's going to be a function. And in here we'll put the logic to delete. So like we said, we're faking out the way that we handle our data right now. We're not actually going to be deleting anything from the array of objects that we've got in our file right here, but rather we're just going to be taking it out of the array that is in memory. And the way that we can do that is with JavaScript's splice method, which allows us to take things out of an array. So the first thing we'll want to do is make sure we pass classified here, because that needs to come through from our view. And then what we'll want is the index of that classified in the array. So how we get that is we can say var index equals scope.classifieds. So that's the total array of all of our classifieds. And then we call index of. And we pass in the classified that's coming through here to find the index of this classified in the array. So if it's the first item, the index will be 0. If it's the second, it'll be 1, and so on. All right, so this will now allow us to splice out that particular classified from the array. So let's call scope classifieds splice, and let's pass in that index. And if we were to leave things like this, what would happen is everything from the position of that particular classified, let's say it was maybe the second item in the array, so it would have an index of 1, it would take everything from that second item and beyond and splice it out. So what we want to say is that we just want to take out one item. So we pass 1 as the second argument to splice. Okay, let's see if this works out. Back over here in the browser, let's refresh and let's try to delete this one. So admin and delete, and there it is. It's gone from our array. Same thing happens if we do this one, and you can see they're all disappearing like we'd expect. So an application that provides a good user experience is going to provide some way that the user can confirm whether or not they want to delete the item before it goes away. And we can do that with something really simple. We could use, for example, just the native JavaScript confirm dialog. We could say if confirm, are you sure? And if that is true, then we can go ahead and take the item out of the array. So we just have to put this within this if block. So if we save this and let's check it out in the browser, if we say delete this one now, we get this message that says, are you sure? And we can say okay, and that's good. We can also say no, we don't want to delete it, and it's going to stay in place. So that works fine, but I think the better user experience, since we're using Angular Material, would be to use some of its functionality. And back over here at the Angular Material site, we can see that we've got some options for some really nice dialogues that can help us out. So this in particular is a confirm dialog. If we click this, we see, would you like to delete all your debt? Of course, please do it. Or we can just cancel that. It sounds like a scam, don't do it. So this works pretty well like the native JavaScript dialog, but obviously it looks a lot nicer, and it's going to provide some more functionality for us as well. So let's put this in. Back over here in our controller, the first thing that we're going to need is the MD dialog service. So back up here, we've got to inject MD dialog. Let's put that right beside MD toast, MD dialog. And then we'll come down here into our delete method. And first we have to set up our confirm. So we need to say var confirm is equal to md dialog.confirm. And this confirm method needs chained onto it some other things. We need a title, and so this will say, are you sure you want to delete? And what we can actually do is, instead of saying something like this classified, just being generic, we can put in the title for the specific classified we want to delete. So let's say plus classified title, because this title property is going to be coming through from the classified that we pass in. So we can say classified title, and then we'll just put on a question mark to finish everything off. And so then we get this OK method, which takes some text that we want to put into the button that will say, yes, please confirm this. So in this case, we'll just say, yes, that's going to be the OK. And then the cancel method takes the text for whatever we want to be on that cancel button. So we'll say cancel is going to be no. And then finally, something special here is that we need to put in a target event. And this needs to come from the view. So let's just call this event. And this event is going to be passed through the view to this method. And the way that we pass it through the view is we come over here and we pass through $event. And this is an object that comes from our ngRepeat. ngRepeat is going to attach this event object, and it's going to tell us about what kind of event triggered this delete classified click. So we can pass event through like that, and we are picking it up over here as event. All right, so we've got our target event. That's all we need for our confirm. And next we'll show our dialog. So let's do md dialog.show. And the show method takes the confirm that we just set up. So we're setting up kind of our confirm dialog here, and then we want to actually show a dialog that takes all of that setup in this confirm variable. And this show method actually returns a promise. We talked a little bit about promises earlier and how we use promises to deal with asynchronous calls. And so we get a then method to say anything within this then method is what we want to happen when this promise resolves. And what we would like to happen here is we'd like to actually delete that classified whenever our confirmation goes through. So all we need to do is take the setup that we already have. So let's grab this. We've got our index set up here, and then we've got our splice here to actually take that classified out. So we'll put that there, and that will now work for when we've confirmed that we want to delete. But what about if we press cancel? Well, that's going to go in as a function, an anonymous function, as the second parameter to this then method. And so in this function, we can define anything we want to happen if we clicked no, we don't want to delete. And so one thing we could do is we could attach a message. We could say put some status message on scope, and then that can be equal to whatever we want. But let's just leave it blank for now. We don't really need to put a message just for this example. So let's save this. We need to get rid of this confirm dialog because we don't need that anymore. All right, so let's just take a look actually before we go back and just make sure that everything's clear on what we've done. So our delete classified method is going to accept two arguments. The first is going to be the event type that is passed through from the view, and also the classified object from the view as well. This classified object is the currently iterated over object. And then we are going to set up a confirm with md-dialog.confirm. This confirm takes some other chain methods like the title, what we want in the OK and the cancel button, and then the target event as well. And then we use md-dialog-show to actually show the message. We pass in our confirm setup, and this show method returns a promise. So we can tap into the resolution of that promise with the then method. And once that promise resolves, we will say we want to delete our classified just like we did originally. And again, this second function is going to be whatever we want to happen if the no button is clicked on the dialog. Okay, so let's check this out now. Let's go back over to the browser and let's go here and refresh. And we'll go to admin and delete. And there we have it. Are you sure you want to delete Canada Goose Jacket? And that is the title here that comes through from the classified. Let's say yes. And if we say yes, it is deleted. Let's try to delete this one. And in this case, we'll say no. And it stays in place. All right, so we have all the pieces of our CRUD set up. We've got create, which comes through here with the add classified side nav. We've got read, which is what we started with. We set up some JSON data to be iterated over, and that's all of our classified adds here. We've also got update, which happens when we edit a classified. And then finally, we have delete, which we just set up in this video. So there's all those pieces. The next thing we'll want to do is refine the user interface a little bit and make it a bit more interactive.